All right, guys and girls too, I've got a really cool lesson for you today. The lecture that I picked today is all about income, arranged by education and gender and race. And we're going to look at this as a time series. So all of this income, education, gender, race, income metrics is going to be presented over time. So here is the actual data set that I'm looking at. If we go over here, we can see the year, last year this is collected is 2022. Now it's the beginning of 2025, so it's a little bit dated. We certainly wouldn't have 2025 data. Maybe 2024 isn't available yet. Maybe it takes a while to aggregate that, but I would think maybe we should get 2023 at least. But in this case, we didn't, so the data is probably 2 years old. But I think it's still meaningful and representative of what we need to look at today to prove a couple different points. Okay, now some of these columns are pretty self-explanatory. Less than high school, this is education, high school education, some college, bachelor's degree, advanced degree, and then we have gender, so men less than high school, men college, men bachelor's degree, men advanced degree, and then women, so on and so forth. And then we have race as well. So we have white, less than high school, so on and so forth, black, okay, and Hispanic, and then white men, some bachelor's degree. So we have the gender and the race mixed together, okay, and then black and then Hispanic again, and then females too, okay. So how many columns we have here? Let me see. Go to the left, go to the right. We have, it looks like 61 columns. I can see the count at the bottom of the Excel spreadsheet. So 61 columns, including the year, which in this case is going to be the index. And you can see that the data is pretty self-explanatory with the column headings right here, but it's really ranged in a way that's kind of difficult for us to work with. So we're going to have to do some basic transformations on this data set to get it into a state where we can do some actual meaningful analysis here. So here's the task today. We're going to look at income by education, gender, and race, and try to understand what kind of insights we can extract from this in terms of socioeconomic class, pure economics, policies, political issues, education, reform, things like this. Okay, we are going to try to do a better, trying to create a better understanding of income inequality in this teaching lesson here today. Understand higher levels of education and how that is associated with higher income. Okay, that's definitely true, and we're going to prove that here. Premium education commands higher salaries in the labor market. So, guys, if you can get a good education, if you can stay in school, by all means do that. That payoff is going to be huge. We'll see that in a couple minutes here. We can strive to reduce persistent wage gaps, which is the differences between gender incomes, right? Or differences in different racial groups' incomes. Society can attempt to deal with structural barriers preventing equal access to education. Okay, that's another thing. I can't really um, uh, restructure this or reformat that myself, but that's something that we should be aware of and strive to try to improve upon. Governments often invest in education through scholarships, grants, school funding, things like that. So that can be one way to remediate the inadequacies or inefficiencies between genders and different races, right? We can work to create interventions to close these gaps. Leaders in our business community and education community can eliminate glass ceilings that can affect, that in effect help lower paid women stay in lower paid positions, right? We can break those glass ceilings and try to help people to get through that barrier, right? An invisible barrier to earning more money based on higher education levels, right? So if you have the same education, man or woman, gender shouldn't matter, race shouldn't matter. It actually does quite extensively, and we'll see that. But some things that we can be aware of is um, strive for better education, stay in school, graduate, get your diploma, and again, you will be entitled to higher wages almost without exception. So I showed you the data source. This actually comes from a Kaggle website. If I go down here, I'll show you where I got that from. Okay, this is the source right here, so you can copy and paste that into your browser, and you can go there and download the data set and do your own analysis, right? I'm going to share all this code with you guys, so you can copy and paste it and run it in your own Jupyter Notebook environment. Here's the download folder. Click on that button, and you'll get the download. Okay, I'm not going to do it because I already have it. And So that's it, guys. Let's jump into it and let's kick this thing off and see where we go. Okay, so let me go back to the top here. So yeah, the first thing I'm going to do is read in the CSV. Here I'm printing the columns, okay, and that's the print statement right here, display data frame head. Okay, and I'm going to do the first transformation to get the year, education level, and income arranged like this. So if you look closely, education columns is this. Those are the ones that we just saw. Less high school, some college, bachelor's, and advanced. And we are going to take everything and melt it. So a DF melt is taking everything that's elongated or a wide format. We're going to melt that so it's a long format. So wide has lots of columns. Melt has just a few columns and lots of rows. Okay, so the melt would be a unpivot, and a pivot would be data frame wide. Okay, so I'm going to melt this and create an unpivot of the data. And this is what it looks like when it's unpivoted. You have year, education level, and income. And I want to go ahead and create a plotly chart based on this data, with X being the year. This is our time series, right? Y is the income. So this is the vertical axis. This is the horizontal axis. I want the color to be the education level. And this is going to be grouped bars. Okay, so when I hit Control Enter to run this, we get the result here. It's kind of busy, a lot of stuff packed in here. So I'm going to focus on just the more recent years. And I have a scroll bar here that I can slide over to the left and to the right. So I can focus in on different parts of this chart. So this could be the beginning, going back to 1973. So what is that, like 50 something years, almost 50 years, more than 50 years, 51, whatever. But I'm going to look at the most recent. I think the most recent is the most relevant. And what else was I going to say here? So we have the grouped bar chart. That's what we're looking at here. Let me drag this over just a tad, and we can see the details here. So advanced degree is in orange. I'm getting 53.2. This is household median income. For bachelor's degree, 41.6, 24.81. So high school, this is some college, right? High school is red. We see 21.94, and less than high school, 16.52. So median household income in the United States for the entire U.S., $16,000, $16,500. For the educated person with an advanced degree, $53,000. So clearly, if you go to school, get your advanced education, master's, law degree, doctorate, MD, PhD, something like that, MBA, the payoff is substantial compared to this poor chap down here that is making 16,000 a year. This person over here stuck with it, got their advanced degree, and is making 53,000 per year. So that is the graph. Let's look at just the actual metrics. I love plots and charts. I think a picture is worth 1,000 words. So I think this is more meaningful. But if you want to also look at just the raw data, you can create this view right here, where again, we transform the data based on education. We are pivoting right here and renaming columns, right? Just so everything gets sorted and arranged in the way we want. Because remember, this data comes into us kind of messy right here. We have less than high school, some college, bachelor's, advanced, men less than high school, men high school, women. It's just messy. If we could get everything stacked or melted like a long way with lots of rows and just a few columns, that's preferred. Right now we have the wide format with lots of columns, not too many rows. Okay, I want to melt this and get this in a way that's just easier to interpret and digest for the end user. Less than high school makes $16,500 per year. That's what we see here, 16.5. And the advanced degree holder makes 53 and change, and that's what we see over here, 53 and change, which is down just a little bit from 2021, and actually down a little bit from 2020. Okay, that's when COVID hit. I don't think COVID really had an impact on this. Nothing's jumping out at me. But anyways, we can see less than high school, 16,000, high school, 21,994, some college, 24,000 per year, household median income, bachelor's degree, 41,000, advanced degree, 53,000. So the message is clear: stay in school or get yourself educated. This says advanced degree. So you probably want the official formal college degree, PhD, MD, law degree, whatever. In today's day and age with AI and and all kinds of enhanced learning opportunities, you might be able to get enough information from YouTube, like this video right here that you're watching right now, or I mean, a bunch of videos like this. If you enhance your knowledge through YouTube educational series, there's so many good programs on YouTube. I think my channel is pretty outstanding. I'm a little bit biased, obviously, but there's all kinds of great YouTube channels for learning any kind of topic. Mine is focused on data science. If you want to learn law, medicine, um, anything from physics to biology to chemistry to business and finance and economics. It's all kinds of courses on YouTube. Read some books, again, stay in school, get that advanced degree, and you're going to be doing quite well for yourself. Okay. Magnitudes times higher income than this poor guy that's gaining 16,500 per year. As an advanced degree holder, you're getting 53,000. Okay. So let's move on beyond just advanced education and look at gender and income. Okay. So again, we're going to take our data frame, melt it with this property right here, data frame.melt. We're going to get all the genders, and we have to reassign some field names over here because it doesn't come in very structured and very nice to work with. It's kind of messy, but we can clean that up with some basic transformations right here. So we have the year, graduation, I'm sorry, gender, education, income, and then the gender, and then the education level. So let's go ahead and look at the plot, Control Enter to refresh this view. And we have the group bar plot over here. Again, I have some sliders over here. So that comes from right here, right? This is median income. This is the year. The type is category. And this is the range slider. Visible equals true. Okay, for range slider on a Plotly chart, you can go ahead and look at Plotly for all these details here. Google Plotly range slider, your slider. Okay, and you can get some good insight into how these things work, and they'll give you actual code right here that you can basically steal or just go for or just use to for your own purposes. And you have a nice little slider over here. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so same exact thing. More recent is on the left, and more distant is on the right. And we've got the same setup right here. So I'm going to go ahead and move the slider over a little bit because this chart is very busy. I just want to look at like the last few years here and look at the details. We have men and women. Obviously, you can click on these and either activate or deactivate these. This chart is the same. That's why I love these Plotly charts. Very interactive, very easy to modify and change and enhance the view that you get. And of course, you put the mouse over, the bubble pops up. And if you want, you can zoom in on these charts too and get the detailed view right here. Double click to go back to the original view. And that should be pretty intuitive and pretty easy to use. So here we have men and women. The women consistently earn less than men every single year, going back in time since the beginning, 1973, right? So with the slider over here, and you can see the different groups in here. So we have these are the professional income earners. This is college, some college, high school, and then less than high school, right? So those are the breakdowns here. That's the chart. Let's get the actual numeric pivot table view or table view. You can call it either one. So again, we have to assign these columns right here: men less than high school, men high school, some college, women, so on and so forth, women bachelor's, women advanced degree. We're going to go ahead and pivot that and get what we need in this view down here. So 2022, we have 182.55 men total income, women total income 133.75, and men on average for 2022 earned 36.49% more. 2021, 34% more. In 2020, COVID year, 33% more. So post-COVID, men's salaries actually outpaced women's at a quicker rate, right? So 182.55. Again, these are all the 5 buckets added together. So median men income with advanced degree, men with college degree, men with some college, high school, and then some high school. That's the breakdown here. We have 5 different levels. And the total is 18255, and for women, 13375. Okay. So that's what you see there. And women make 36% less than men. Men make 36% more than women in 2022. So one more view here is differences between race and income. Let me go ahead and melt the data frame again because we get this funky view that's given to us initially. Not super easy to work with. 60 columns. Yeah, 60 columns. And we have things that should be stacked on top of each other with an identifier in this column. So ideally, you would have like this, less than high school, right? And then some high school. This would be the preferred way to look at it, and then some college, right, with the metrics on the side. But we don't get that, right? We don't get that nice view. Oops, let me undo this. So we have to manipulate the view using some transposition operations here. So we melt the data frame. Again, we get year, race, education, income, education level, control enter to refresh it, and we will create the plot right here. Okay, and again, pretty busy, so let's distill it down to the most recent years, and we have whites here in blue representing blue, black is represented in red, and Hispanic is indicated with this green color here, and it's pretty consistent. Again, this pattern repeats over and over. Whites make more than blacks and more than Hispanics. Hispanics make more than blacks in every year, but less than whites. Okay, so let us go ahead and um, again pivot that data frame so we can get the table view or the melted pivot table view. So total white income 161, blacks 133, and Hispanic 145. So again, if you sum all these together, we have the advanced degree, college educated, some college, high school complete, and some high school. You add all these together, you get what is that 163, 161. Blacks is 133. You can see that substantially less. Hispanic is in between. 161 and 133 at 145. Okay, so I think it's pretty interesting insights. And again, all the data is from Kaggle. You can go ahead and download that and run these analyses yourself and see how the plotly charts work out and see how the data frames work out. Okay, so I'm going to give you all this code so you can do it for yourself and learn. There's a couple different lessons embedded in here. Definitely um, transposing data into different views, right? So we have the wide format into the melted format or the long format, right? The pivoted format is all the columns out, and the unpivoted is stacked on top of each other, and it helps us to understand um, some kind of racial inequalities. We saw evidence of that. Income inequalities between genders, right? We saw income, we saw evidence of that, and educational. I wouldn't say inequalities, but educational differences. So I feel like for the genders, they should be more equal, but they're not. That needs to be worked on. That needs to be fixed. So women are essentially the same as their men counterparts, right? And for different races, blacks and Hispanics and whites should earn essentially the same. There shouldn't be these gaps. There shouldn't be these obvious differences. That should be remediated. In terms of education, I think it's fine. I think it's totally fine if you go to school, you get more education, you arm yourself with a couple professional degrees, and you're probably going to make more than the person that has some high school education but didn't even finish high school. It just makes sense that the professional is going to make more than the high school dropout, unless there are cases like didn't finish college. That's Bill Gates. Mark Zuckerberg didn't finish. There's a bunch of billionaires. Well, there's several. I wouldn't say a bunch per se. Depends how you define a bunch. But there's several billionaires that didn't finish college and they're making more money than most white collar professionals out there. Even if you combine all the white collar professionals into one group combined, Bill Gates probably makes more, or Mark Zuckerberg probably makes more than most of those people, right? But those are outliers. Those are extreme cases. By and far, if you want to have more income, stay in school longer, and finish your professional degree. That's the takeaway here. So this analysis helps us to evaluate the impact of educational policies, right? More education is better. That is um, irrefutable, right? That is not negotiable. Undertake gender pay analysis, right? So gender pay gaps should be eliminated. Those should be remediated. Racial disparities should be eliminated. We can further study labor markets and trends and understand shifts over time. We can become more aware of economic mobility and inequality factors, promote diversity, promote equality, promote inclusion. DEI, right? That's abbreviation, support advocacy and policy recommendations. There could be legislature put in place that fixes some of these issues, highlight social, societal shifts and trends, and identify opportunities for better growth. Better growth opportunity, overused opportunity. I'm not going to repeat that. Just opportunities for better growth. I think that's the takeaway here. So that's it, guys, in a nutshell. hopefully you found this interesting and useful and practical. I try to make all my videos as practical as I can. Give me feedback if you have any. I don't get a whole lot of feedback, but I try to take whatever I see in the comment sections and incorporate that into future videos. I don't really go back in time and edit older videos or reproduce those. Once it's done, it's done. But if you have some good feedback, I'll use that into the future when I create new videos in the coming days and weeks and months. I'll consider all the points and all the feedback items that I get here. So I'm going to wrap it up. Hopefully, I was able to drop some knowledge and you can ingest that and digest that and use it to your benefit. The takeaway here is right now we can't really control race, we can't really control gender differences, but we can control educational differences. Stay in school, get a better education, get that professional degree, and you will make more money. That is absolute certainty. That's a mathematical um, proven outcome here in this analysis. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for your time today, everybody. Hopefully you found this interesting and useful. I try to make all the videos useful as to the greatest extent that I can. That's my goal here. Okay, so that's it. I'm going to wrap it up now. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you and goodbye.